Greetings, Earthlings. How are you? Listen, I really do hope that you all got some Earthlings. That you all got outside today. What a gorgeous and glorious day it was. Did you get outside? It's not too late, actually. You know what? Take your phone, whatever, your device, and get outside. It is phenomenal day today. Uh-oh. Mr. President wants to get in. Yeah, phenomenal day today. So I hope that you enjoyed the beautiful, nice weather that God provided to us and for us. I'm going to do this just in case, you know. So I just had to mute our Zoom participants. Awesome. Uh-oh, so sorry. Almost forgot about one audience. Pardon me, y'all. Sorry to reach across your face. Do this. My bad. Just give me 1 second. There we go. All right, we are all set and ready to go. We got all 3 audiences live. I do hope and pray. I apologize on Sunday to our YouTube audience, our YouTube campus, if you will. We had some video problems. The audio was nice, but the video didn't show up. So I'm working on editing that video for YouTube purposes so that you all can be able to see it fully. Hello. Okay, so we are all situated now. We are all in our seats and ready to go or standing up. Wherever you are, I thank God for you. I'm grateful for your life. I'm grateful that God blessed you with health and strength on today. I got outside, felt good, got some sun. Listen, the sun. I thank God for the sun. And I'm not even just talking about Jesus right now. I'm not trying to be overly spiritual. I literally thank God for the sun in the sky. Okay, we're good. Just want to make sure we're good. Okay, we're all good. All right. So, Patty from Mount Pisgah Baptist Church. How are you doing? So good to see all of you from everywhere. You know what? You just show so much love that I'm grateful for all of you. So we've been hanging out since the first, the week before Easter. That seems so long ago now. We've been hanging out for that long and in the book of Revelation. So we did an intro, and then tonight we're about to do chapters 8 and 9. I did not give you any homework because I knew we were having our special guest on last week. Listen, if you tuned in last week, Wednesday, and you were blessed by Dr. Brian Blunt, president of Union Presbyterian Seminary in Richmond, Virginia, my former professor at Princeton Theological Seminary. Can you just put some hearts in the screen if you learned something last week? Listen, last week was phenomenal for me. I have not gone back to listen to it again yet, but I will be going back to listen to it. He drop jewels upon jewels and nuggets upon nuggets. And I'm just so very grateful. And he's just such a humble and brilliant man. That combination you don't find too often. And, after the fact, I reached out to him on Thursday morning last week, and I thanked him profusely. And I said, Dr. Blunt, where can we send, our gratitude? Where can we send you an honorarium? And you know what he said? He said he wouldn't even receive an honorarium. And so I'm grateful for graciousness and generosity that way. Can we just put some hearts on the screen? As a matter of fact, can you just type in the comments, thank you, Dr. Blunt. Just type that, thank you, Dr. Blunt. That would be great if you could do that. I am grateful. He said he had an awesome time, and I had an awesome time with him and with you on last week. Oh yeah, thank you. Awesome, it's awesome. I'm seeing the thank you, Dr. Blunts. They are coming in. All right, so wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Blunt. Listen, last week was a phenomenal experience that we had, and I want you to know too. If you ever wondered what seminary is like, you had firsthand experience last week on Wednesday night, what a class in seminary is like, because Dr. Blunt took us into the classroom and into the scriptures. And I am grateful, and I hope that you are too. And imagine this has always been a dream of mine. You know what? We tend to send people from the church to the seminary. But last week, the seminary came to the church and opened up the scriptures to us. And I'm just really so grateful and proud to have done that, to be able to do that here at New Beginnings and into the world. All right. So, you know what the question is, how many of you are ready to dig into tonight's lesson? If you are ready, you know what to do already. All you got to do is say, I'm ready. Just type it into the comment box. I'm ready. Awesome. I see you're ready. So if you're ready, I'm ready. If you remember 2 weeks ago, last week was Dr. Blunt, but the week before that, we were in Revelation chapter 6, Revelation chapter 7, and we were opening up the 7 seals. We were opening up the 7 seals, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the seals opened, and then there was a break. And there was a break for a praise party. Yeah, before the 7th seal was opened, we had a praise break, which actually extended all the way into chapter 7. That's what chapter 7, was all about. So we're going to open it up, and I'm opening up my Bible apps, and we're going to open up Revelation chapter 8, verse number 1. While I'm finding it in my Bible and you're finding it in your Bible, if you are on Facebook, do me a favor, go ahead and start a watch party. Share this Bible study out on your page. It makes it go that much further, that much faster. And I appreciate you so much for doing that. Go ahead and start a watch party. If you're checking us out on YouTube, you can share what we're doing. All right, everybody said there's ready. We have shared. On your mark, let's get set. Let's go. Revelation chapter 8, verse number 1. When he opened the seventh seal, there was a silence in heaven for about half an hour. So we're opening up the seventh seal. We finally opened up the seventh seal. We got it. We are ready. And we open it up and silence. That's kind of anticlimactic, isn't it? Maybe not. When he opened up the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. All right, so this is how it works, y'all. You ready? So I think I talked about this before, but this is how it's going to work. It's going to work this way with the seals. It's going to work this way with the trumpets that we're going to be talking about tonight. It works this way with the bowls, the 7 bowls. So we go through 1 through 6. Sometimes there's an interlude like we saw with the 7 seals. There's a break, but then the 7th seal or the 7th trumpet or the 7th bowl is kind of the beginning of the next cycle. So the 7th seal is opened and silence. So why is this? Now remember, you have to remember what was going on in chapter 7. Do y'all remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? If you don't remember, it's okay. You can always just go back and look and read it for yourself. At the end of chapter 7, in chapter 7, it was a praise party. Basically, we're asking who are these dressed in white robes, and they start singing to the one who sits on the throne, and they sing all these praise songs, and the elders are participating. And so you get all of this noise, all this beautiful harmonies, and then the 7th seal is opened and nothing. Silence. You ever talk to somebody or be in conversation, and especially when you're not too familiar with the person, you don't know them as intimately as some of your other friends or whatever, and you get to that, you get to some dead air space, and it's like really awkward. I have Asante, he likes to say awkward. And this may, for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, this silence. So here we have all this praise, all this worship happening in heaven, chapter 7. Chapter 8 comes, opens up the 7th seal, and it's not what we expect. We don't expect silence. And we don't expect silence for half an hour. Now, what's the whole big deal with a half an hour? Well, think about it. If they've been praising, and this is what they do constantly, think about what it means, what the impact would be to go from this beautiful noise to silence. All right. So this is kind of preparing us. It's kind of like the calm before the storm. Like a real storm. Like the wind has even died down. It's not blowing. It's really still. That's what's going on in Revelation chapter 8. Verse number 1, when the 7th seal is opened, and here we go. And I saw the 7 angels who stood before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. All right, so when we break the 7th seal, we get that moment of silence for a half hour, and then 7 trumpets. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Tonight is all about the 7 trumpets of chapter 8 and chapter 9. Listen, anytime you hear the trumpet sound in the Bible, even if you're watching some TV, the trumpets are always a signal for battle, a signal for warfare, a signal for the troops to line up and get ready. And that's exactly what these 7 trumpets mean to do for us. Get ready, because the battle is about to ensue. The battle is about to happen. It's like that loud alarm clock in the morning. It gets your attention. These 7 trumpets are meant to get your attention. I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel who had a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense to offer with the prayers of all God's people on the golden altar in front of the throne. The smoke of the incense, together with the prayers of God's people, went up before God from the angel's hand. Then the angel took the censer, filled it with the fire from the altar, and hurled it onto the earth. And there came peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and earthquakes. Can I ask you a question, my brothers and my sisters? Are you praying? Is the sound of your incense reaching up to heaven? Are you praying? Did you know that we have a part to play in this cosmic battle? That's right, we got a part to play in this cosmic battle. And a part of this is we have to be praying. We are the incense. Our prayers are those which are going up to heaven, reaching God. We got to be praying, my brothers and sisters. All right, verse number 6. Then the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. Dun, 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 dun. The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. The first trumpet sends hail and fire mixed with blood, and it's thrown to the earth, burning up a third of the trees and all the grass on the entire planet. Now, if you'll listen along, you'll get your homework, but I want you to think about it for yourself. Now, it happens sometimes here, but have you ever been in an area where there's like a water shortage? And so we, sometimes complain. This is what we do. We complain about, oh, it's raining. Oh, it's snowing. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty. But imagine our earth, where a third of the vegetation, a third of the trees, a third of the grass were all burned up. Sunday I preached from Genesis, and there was a famine coming to the land for 7 years. Imagine, y'all, it's even mind-boggling how big and vast this is. Imagine a third of the earth's greenery gone. This is an opportunity for me to talk about, for us to think about it. I want you to think about these things too. Global warming and the environment. You know, we think that these conversations are merely just political. Republican versus Democrat, you know, Green Party, blah, blah, blah. Listen, it's not just political. This is very, number one, it's very spiritual, and it's very biblical, and it's very theological. We don't often think about the earth by way of our theology in the Christian context. Oh, we think about ecology and green spaces, you know, our native brothers and sisters, they are concerned about the earth. Or oftentimes, and you know, you can talk about me if you want to, but people who practice other faiths, other religions, more spiritual minded people tend to be concerned about the earth. Listen, how come we as believers, as Christians, don't have the care and concern that we should about the earth that God has given to us? How come? Is it not God's creation? Then how come we treat it like it's a secondhand citizen? Truth of the matter is, the earth and the vegetation was created according to the Bible before human beings. And God charged us to take care of it. Think about that. Ecology, you know, global warming, these things are not just for politics. These things are not just for the scientists. We got to become conscious of this for ourselves. Think twice about, you know, littering. Think twice about the car that you drive. What kind of emissions does it have? You know, we got electric cars now. We got hybrids. Are you thinking about the earth in these terms? You know, COVID did something really great for us. It allowed us to see very physically, very tangibly, with our own eyes, how the earth started healing itself when there weren't as many cars on the road, when there weren't as many factories, you know, putting carbon emissions into the atmosphere. We got to take these things into account and start questioning these things. Don't leave it just for the politicians. Talk about it at the kitchen table. You know, one thing I learned in Nova Scotia, we got this thing called the green bin. You can't throw food and organic things in the garbage. It goes in a separate place so that it can be recycled, so that it can become, fertilizer and things like this. We have to become more conscious as Christians, as believers in Jesus Christ in the earth. The first trumpet. A third of the trees and the planet and the green grass are burnt up because of hail mixed with fire mingled in blood. Verse number 8, the second angel sounded his trumpet. So this is trumpet number 2. And something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood. A third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. I'm going to do it again for you. This is verse number 8. Revelation 8. The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood, a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. If you ever come visit Nova Scotia, for those of you who are not here, please let me know. I love to take people around, and even Scotians don't visit this place that I'm about to talk about as much as we should. So there's this place, you come to Nova Scotia, it's about a half-hour drive from here, maybe a little longer. It's called Peggy's Cove. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Man, Peggy's Cove is so beautiful. This is the dynamic of it, though. It's like, it's weird, actually. It's kind of weird. You literally have mountains or rocks, and then the sea is right there. There's no beach. There's no beach. There's the rocks, the big stones, and you got the ocean, like deep. You're not swimming in this water. If you swim in this water, you're done. As a matter of fact, they have signs all over it, and I see people doing it all the time. You're not supposed to walk on the dark rocks, because the dark rocks are those rocks that have been wet with the water from the ocean, and it becomes very slippery. If you slip on the rocks and go into the ocean, this is it. Now, this says, chapter 8, something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. Now, my imagination, I'm not saying that this is what it is, but this is what I see when I read Revelation 8, verse 8. I see a volcano. I see a mountain that is a volcano that has erupted, and that it is spilling its lava into the sea, and it's so big that it's actually killing all of the sea life in the ocean. This is what I see. This is my imagination. I'm not saying that this is what it is. You have to create it. You have to see it for yourself. But this is what I see when I read Revelation 8, verses 8. Now, this is the thing. This large mountain goes into the sea. A third of the sea animals are destroyed. What's it say? What's it say? You can read. A third of the sea turned into blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Now I need to paint this picture for you, because you got to put all these things together. The first trumpet, what happened? A third of the earth burned up, all the trees, all the vegetation, all the green grass. The second trumpet says that there was basically something like a mountain was thrown into the sea, and a third of the water turned into blood. A third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. I'm hoping you're seeing what's going on. Basically, a third of the earth is being destroyed. We talked about the land first. Now we're talking about the sea. And not only the sea, but the things in the sea. Now get this, for all of you carnivores out there, because maybe you're not getting it. Maybe you're not getting the whole picture. If a third of the earth's vegetation is gone, the vegans are not only the only ones that are going to suffer. What do the animals eat that you eat? That's how they get fed. They get fed from the earth. So if a third of the earth is gone, that means a third of the food that comes from the earth is also going to be impacted. Second trumpet, if a third of the sea is turned into blood, which means it's not clean. If a third of the living creatures that are in the sea die, and a third of the ships are destroyed, then guess what? We're enjoying lobster over here in Nova Scotia right now. Listen, lobster all for days right now. Lobster, lobster, lobster. You can get it for like $6, $7 a pound. It's $10 a pound in the grocery store, and that's the highest. Lobster, lobster for days. And no, ain't gonna be none of that. Because a third of the ships are going to be destroyed. A third of the living creatures in the sea are going to be destroyed. We're here, y'all. This is the judgment. This is the judgment. The judgments are being poured out. The trumpets are being sounded. All right, I'm going to the third trumpet now. The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become bitter. Okay, now it's, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. The land, a third of it is going to be destroyed. Now the second trumpet was the sea. Then we got this meteor coming from the sky. A great star coming from the sky is going to land on earth, poisoning a third of the planet's fresh water. Look. I got water. I got water for days. Water. We don't drink water from the ocean. It's salt water. We would get dehydrated if we drank that water. It might actually make us sick if we drank that water. So the water that we drink comes from lakes and rivers and streams, things that move. That's what keeps it filtered. That's the filtration system, the natural filtration system that God created. Again, a third of the earth's fresh water sources are going to be destroyed. I know. I need a drink of water. Hold on. The fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them turned dark. A third of the day was without light, and also a third of the night. You know, listen, you know that's bad. It's already dark at nighttime. The stars light up the night. You know it's bad when a third of the night turns dark. Now, another thing too, you know, earlier I talked about, and there's science to this, and not only there's science to this, but there's spirituality in this. And I have suffered myself being here in Nova Scotia. So we pretty much get here in Nova Scotia, we pretty much get, we'll call it 3 months. 3 months of like warm, nice weather. Like, but it's nice, it's beautiful, it's perfect almost. It's like, I don't even like to leave here in the summertime. But in the other months, sometimes it can be gloomy. Sometimes it can be, you know, cloudy with a chance of whatever. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, this is what I'm getting at. A lack of sun impacts your vitamin D production in your body, which can mess with all types of these hormones and biological things that your body actually needs. What this is suggesting is a third of all of the celestial lights that we're used to, the sun, the moon, and the stars, become dark because of this meteor that's going to hit the earth. Now, this is very catastrophic. So first thing, and you have to put all these things together, right? You can't look at them, you can't compartmentalize it, right? Excuse me. We talked about the earth, the land, then we talked about the seas. We talked about the fresh waters. Now we're actually talking about atmospheric. Atmospheric. You ever see pictures of Los Angeles because of the haze? Now just multiply that, multiply that, multiply that. So much so that you can't see the sun, stars. Can't see the stars at night because it's so dark. Because there's this cloud, this film covering, you can't see it. These are the four trumpets. These are the four trumpets. Now, I said this before, I'll say it again to you tonight. As it relates to Revelation, as it relates to the judgments of God and what we are talking about tonight, what we talked about last week with the opening of the seals, the trumpets and the bowls, we'll get to that in a few weeks. What we are talking about are the judgments that God is delivering to the earth. But you got to remember, these are for those people who are not covered or sealed by the blood of the Lamb. But each successive cycle, the scrolls, the seals that were broken, each seal gets worse. And then we move from the seals, and now we're into each trumpet gets worse. We're at number 4. We're at trumpet number 4. It's getting worse. And so I need to just to sober you up. Revelation, as it relates to the judgments, things are going to get worse before they get better. I know I like to talk this way. I know, no, I'm sorry, but I got to tell you the truth. Things are going to get worse before they get better as it relates to the judgment of God. And so each level, each cycle, each portion of God's judgment, whether it be the seals or the trumpets or the bowls, is progressively getting worse in the hopes that people will see what is going on and repent and turn to God. This is primarily for unbelievers, for those who are not covered with the seal, but it is also a warning for you and I who are believers, so that we can get right. Verse number 13, as I watched, I heard an eagle that was flying in midair call out in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because the trumpet blast about to be sounded by the other 3 angels." Remember, I said it's going to get worse before it gets better. Woe, that is, listen, anytime you hear woe, anytime you see woe in the Bible, that's not a good look for people. That's not a good look for humanity. Woe is a major warning sign. Caution. This is not like the yellow light when you drive it. This is like flagging you down. Stop. Yeah, let me go old school rap. Stop what you're doing because you're about to ruin. Anytime you see woe in the Bible, it's a big warning. And so that's what happens before the trumpet sounds. Now, can you see the grace in that though? That's kind of hot. The four trumpets come back to back to back to back. Boom, 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 boom. This is what happens. First trumpet, second trumpet, third trumpet, fourth trumpet, the earth, then what? The sea, then the fresh water, then the atmosphere, back to back to back to back. Before even the fifth trumpet is sounded, woe to those inhabitants of the earth. Because if you thought the first four trumpets was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. So there's a little break there, there's a little space and time that allows for human beings to get on the good foot, to get right. I know it's hard to see the tension there, but I need you to see the tension. I need you to see God's grace and mercy even at work in the midst of his. Man. All right. So, if you didn't know, that's all of chapter 8. We're about to enter into chapter 9 right now. Chapter 9, verse 1. The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. This is great language, very picturesque. You can see it. The sun and the sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss. And out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of the scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plants or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They were not allowed to kill them, but only to torture them for 5 months. And the agony they suffered was like that of the sting of a scorpion when it strikes. During those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. Listen. Oh my goodness. I don't want no parts of it. All right. What could be worse? What could be worse than a third of the land, trees, grass, and every vegetation being destroyed? Because that's pretty bad. Like that's bad. All right. Well, okay. So then you add on top of the third of the earth being destroyed. Now you got a third of the sea being destroyed and everything in it. That's pretty bad. All right. So now we're talking about a third of the freshwater streams. I mean, you think bottled water costs a lot now. Imagine the markup on that. You know that's what's going to happen. That's pretty bad. Fourth trumpet was atmospheric things because of a meteor that comes to the earth, and a third of the sun and the moon and the stars are not able to be seen because of this atmospheric something that's going to happen because of this meteor that falls. That's bad, man. That's just bad. So why, sometimes we can't imagine anything worse than that. Well, the fifth trumpet is worse. because we're not actually talking about a literal star. This fifth trumpet is talking about Lucifer, the angel of light, being thrown from heaven to earth and in the bottomless pit. And then Lucifer is no longer Lucifer, but becomes Satan. And Satan opens up hell, and literally all hell starts to break loose. So let me just pause right here, because sometimes, we're doing the study. I like to throw in every now and then some good news so that you can catch it. Because oftentimes we think that what we are going through is the worst of what could ever happen, right? And so, oh my gosh, woe is me. I can't believe I'm going through this. Why did God do this to me? Blah, blah, blah. COVID comes. Oh my God, COVID is the worst thing that has ever happened in my lifetime. And I lost my job and, all this stuff. Why am I pausing? I'm pausing because if you really, really, really consider your life, if you really consider how God is blessing you, even right now, what you think is the worst is not. And forgive me. I don't minimize your trials or your tribulations, struggles or your circumstances. I am not trying to do that. But there's always a worst that is available for you. So listen, I would, I'm not trying to compare. I'm like, I would much rather got to wash my own mouth. I don't want all hell breaking loose, and I don't want God giving the permission of this angel that falls, this star that falls from heaven to the bottomless pit. I don't want that in my life. I don't want it for your life. So be grateful. Be grateful that all hell isn't breaking loose in your life, that locusts aren't coming in there. Listen, did you hear what it says? It's like, they're not even allowed to kill us. They just torment us for 5 months. And even that is, there's a timestamp on that. All right. The locusts look like horses. The locusts look like horses prepared for battle. On their heads, they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Ooh. Their hair was like woman's hair, and their teeth were like lion's teeth. Listen. Be careful, because there might be some humans that are actually locusts. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing to battle. They had tails with stingers. You can read it. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon or Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, that is the destroyer. Verse 12 is very interesting. I want to spend some time here. The first woe is past. 2 other woes are yet to come. Now, I told you, you do not want to mess with God when he's talking about these woes. That was the first woe. The first woe is the star is thrown out of heaven to the bottomless pit, and he opens up hell, basically, and these locusts come out that are as big as horses. They got face like human beings, and they got tails like a scorpion. All right, here we go. The sixth angel sounded the trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates, and the four angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. The number of the mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000, and I heard their number. A whole lot. 10,000 times 10,000 was twice 10,000 times 10,000. Anybody quick at math? What's that number, y'all? 10 twice, 2 times 10,000 times 10,000 equals what? Who's paying attention? In other words, I want the answer. Y'all send me the answer. Type in the answer. In other words, this is an army the size we have never seen before. This is the second woe. You can read it there. Now, I wanted to say, come back to something. Sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels bound at the great river Euphrates. And the four angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill, that's what I want to say, a third of mankind. Now, some of you have been asking if the coronavirus, COVID-19, is a part of, the last times and stuff like that. And I looked at the numbers today, and a lot of people, thousands in the thousands, have died from the coronavirus. And God bless them, and may heaven smile on them. I pray that they, were in good relationship with God. But how many people on the earth right now? Something like 8-point-something billion. A third of that number would be 2 billion people. This is the second one. Now, I see some answers coming in, and you all are missing something very important. So it wasn't just times 10,000, it was 2 times 10,000 times 10,000. So you are close, but no cigar. All right, we're gonna move on. That's the sixth trumpet, an army the size never seen before that is given the authority to kill 1/3 of humanity. Verse 20, the rest of humanity who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not stop worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk, nor did they repent of their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. All right. Seventh trumpet. The seventh trumpet is, it's very interesting. So we get all this, again, all this turmoil, all this tumult, all this destruction, all this death, all this permission, all this, we get all this. And then we get the seventh trumpet. It is nothing like what we've experienced. It's kind of like back to the seventh seal that is broken. It's an interlude. It's a time of settling. Good job, Vanessa. This is what I like to say to you. All of this woe is for the purpose of getting you to get with it. It's like Lawrence Fishburne at the end of School Days. You've never seen it. At the end, he's out there all by himself and he screams into the camera, "Wake up. Wake up! You see all this stuff going on in our world? Do you? Wake up, y'all. Listen, these trumpets, the seven trumpets, are designed to get your attention, to get my attention, to get the earth's attention, to get humanity's attention, so that we can wake up, so that we can get right with God. Color purple. God is trying to tell you something right now. If Steely and Suge could wake up, if Suge could wake up and go to her daddy's church that she got so much trauma from, what's keeping you from waking up, getting right with God? Get right with God and do it now. Wake up. Listen, we've come through the seals. I just taught you about the trumpets. The bowls are next. The war is coming. What you waiting for? Come on. Get right with God, please. Like, I love you too much to see these things. Woes are a warning. There's a warning sign. It's like when you watch TV shows that have violence and whatever in it, they actually give you a warning before you watch the show. That's what Revelation is trying to do, trying to give you a warning. This is what's going to happen to you. This is what's going to happen to the earth if you don't get right with God. Okay. Okay, what we got next? The last time, people were hollering at me, well, not hollering, reminding me, oh, you didn't give us homework. You didn't give us homework. Guess what? You got homework. I want you to think, though. Your homework is I want you to think. And this is what I want you to think about. Excuse me. Now that we have read and studied the 7 trumpets, particularly your homework is concerned with the first 4 trumpets, trumpet 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to talk about, I want you to think about your views, your understanding of the relationship between ecology and the trumpets 1 through 4. You don't know what ecology is? This is things as it relates to the earth. I want you to think about these things. I want you to ponder these things. I want you to expand your spiritual, biblical, and theological horizons. You know, salvation isn't just about humans. That's a huge statement, I know, and I'm not taking it back. I need you to sit in it. I need you to ponder it. I need you to understand. Salvation is not just about a person into the knowledge and belief of Jesus Christ and living life abundantly here on earth and having eternal and everlasting life in heaven. That is not the totality of salvation. How do I know? Because Revelation chapter 21 says this, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. If God wasn't concerned with the heaven and the earth, then why would it be included in the book? If God was not concerned with the earth, then why would Genesis chapter 1 and 2 and 3 be present? Why would there be so much emphasis in a garden if God wasn't concerned about the earth and water? And you understand? I want you, but I about these things because you could say, you know what? I don't see it. I don't see it, Pastor. This is what I believe. But I want you to be able to form an argument. I want you to be able to have your own thoughts. And I want you to be able to have your own thoughts grounded in the word, in the actual text of the Bible, like we walk through tonight. This is your homework. It doesn't necessarily have to be written, even though it'd be helpful for you to write it down because I know some of you are forgetful like me. I get it. Dialogue with somebody, talk with somebody. You know what? Do a Google search. What is the relationship between Revelation chapter 8 and the first 4 trumpets to the earth, or something? Google it. You're smart people. You're brilliant. Okay. That's your homework. Final thought is next. Or next week. Okay. Next week, continue. We're still in the judgments. I'm actually giving you an extra chapter to read. Don't be nervous. You see how fast we went through 2 chapters tonight? Because because it's kind of all flowing together. It flows together like a good narrative. And that's what it's supposed to do. When you get into the word, it grabs you, right? It grabs you. So next week, I want you to read Revelation chapter 10, chapter 11, and chapter 12. We're going to talk about it. Okay. Final thought? Did we get to the final thought yet, or did we pass it already? All right. The things that we see on the earth are for the intended purpose for us to get ready, to get right, to make sure we're good. And to tell somebody who may not be in right relationship with God, yo, listen, there's some bad stuff coming down the pipe. You might want to smarten up. All right. So I've enjoyed my time with you tonight. Thank you so much again. How many of you remember Minister Devon Johnson? So I've been in contact and communication with Devon, and he is going to bless us this weekend. I'll see you on the weekend. Stay safe. Listen, if it's nice outside, get outside. Continue to do your social distancing. Yes, don't pay attention to the news. Don't pay attention to all these people who just seem to be making no sense to me by opening up things so fast. But stay safe, stay safe. Stay physical distancing. Stay in contact with one another. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. God is good. God is good. Can I get an all the time? Yes, yes, yes. All the time. God is good. So, I'll see you soon. Take care. I love you. Have a good evening.